Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Teacher Jessamay Picanya Abella, and this is my video lesson tutorial about the Science 7 Module 1, which involves scientific investigation or scientific method. So welcome pong lahat na gumamit ng video na ito in reference or kung gusto nyo pang mas maintindihan ang scientific method. So enjoy watching and I hope you will learn something. Okay, so bago natin discuss kung ano yung basic steps of scientific method, the first thing that I would like you to do is to think of an unforgettable problem that you have encountered in your life. And of course, how did you come up with the solution? Okay, isipin nyo nga. Sige. Now, with the solution at hand, did you wish na sana may mas madali pang paraan para malaman natin kung ano yung solusyon sa problema na yon? Okay, so dyan na papasok ang scientific method. Okay, oh ma'am, ano pala yung scientific method? Sige, what comes into your mind pag sinabing scientific method? Okay, pag sinabing scientific method, it is a set of procedures that can be used to explain and predict events or phenomena. So itong scientific method na ito, para ito siyang roadmap or mapa. Bakit? Because it will guide you step by step into finding the solution. Okay, for example, pupunta ka sa isang bagong lugar or hindi mo pa napuntahan na lugar. So kung wala kang dalang mapa o wala kang GPS, paano mo malalaman kung saan pupunta? Or paano mo malaman kung ano yung daang tatahakin mo para makapunta ka sa lugar na yun? So that is what scientific method is. Okay, so now let us discuss the basic steps of scientific investigation or scientific method. The first step is to make observations. Ano yung observation? Well, you have to observe your environment, your daily activities, and there are tons of everyday activities that would make a cool experiment for your scientific method. Tingnan mo ano yung mga nangyayari sa inyong paligid. And the one thing that will pique your curiosity or your interest, that's the best thing na gawing, problem para sa inyong scientific method. Kung ano yung gusto nyo talagang malaman, doon ka mag-focus. Why? Because of the second step. The second step of the scientific method is to come up with a question. So, if you observe and it piques your curiosity, anong mangyayari? There are tons of questions that will fill your mind. Marami kang question na magka-come up. So, with that question, doon mo na makikilala or makikita kung ano yung problema na gusto mong malutas. Okay. So now that you have made your observations and you have your problem or question, the next step of the scientific method is to formulate or develop a hypothesis. So ano ba yung hypothesis na ito? This is a prediction or an educated guess. When we say educated guess, it should be based on facts. Based ito siya sa katotohanan at hindi yung mga kuro-kuro or myth. To further understand how to make a hypothesis, so I'll give you an example. So this is the problem that you want to solve. So what happens to the growth of mango seeds if you add salt to the soil? So that is the problem that you want to solve. Now this is an example of a good hypothesis. So here it goes. If the amount of salt added in the soil increases, the growth of the mango seeds decreases. So bakit siya good? Kasi it is experimentable at pwede mo siyang mapatunayan kung totoo ba o hindi. Now, I'll give you another hypothesis based on the same problem na kung saan hindi siya based on facts at malabo mong mapatunayan. So here it goes. If you add salt to the soil, the garden fairies will consume it and then they will allow the plant to grow. Okay, so saan kayang mas maganda doon hypothesis? Yung nauna kong sinabi o yung pangalawa? Of course, always remember that hypothesis should be based on previous researches and facts. So now that you have your predictions or your hypothesis, the next step of the scientific method is to test if those predictions are correct or not. So ito po yun siya yung next step na natin. So when you do the next step, you must understand the different variables that you need to do or you need to manipulate in order to get the results that you want. So ano nga ba yung mga variables? So ang variables may be independent or dependent. Sige, ano pagkakaiba ng dalawa? Ang independent variable are those variables that are manipulated or controlled. While when you say dependent variable, this is the result that arises from the independent variable. Okay, so identifying and controlling variables involve the process of deciding which variables or factors will influence the outcome of an experiment, situation, or event, and deliberately control all recognized variables in a systematic manner. Okay, so when you do the experiment, make sure that only one thing should change. Kasi kung hindi, maybe your outcome will be inaccurate or magiging mali na yung result ng inyong experiment. Okay. The next step in our scientific method is to record and analyze the results. Of course, in this step, you have to make sure to record what is happening as well as the result. So dapat, para kang OCD dito, dapat you have to be meticulous. Dapat lahat ng mga na-observe mo, kailangan mong isulat and i-document. So note changes at specific time intervals or after one set time interval. So dapat, lahat ng observations mo during the experiment, kailangang ma-note mo siya para for your result analysis. And of course, the last one is to draw conclusions. Ano yung conclusion? This is the time masasabi mo kung tama ba talaga ang inyong hypothesis or hindi. So this analysis helps any investigator to decide whether to accept or reject his or her hypothesis. So this is the opportunity to talk about your experiment, your result, and your conclusion, which is the final answer to your problem or experiment. Okay, so I hope natutunan po kayo sa ating video lesson tutorial and stay tuned for our next video lesson. So, mag-upload po ako ng mga video lesson tutorial regarding about science and of course sa MAPE subjects ko. So, if you find this video helpful, don't forget or don't hesitate to share it with your friends and in any social media platform. So, thank you and God bless.